Thank you for...
We're going to talk really fast. Is this working? I can't tell.
It's on. It's on. Now it's on, yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, yeah. I'm not going to... The guys will introduce themselves, but they're probably very well known already. My name is Resnick. You know me a little bit less, except I've been to almost every Kamailio world, but it was the VUC, and it's been over for a long time. A lot of things that you do on the internet have ads, and this is one of them. The new hit by Lorenzo and myself called Reluctance. You can look it up. It's on the... Huge. So I'm actually capable of holding two completely contradictory thoughts in my head. One of them is I've been a musician, paid for playing music for something like 58 years, okay? How long have you been playing, Lorenzo? 20, 30?
30 years probably.
Yeah, he's a baby. But the thing, Dan, do you play?
I used to play the violin.
Yeah, oh, great.
But not anymore.
Anyway, so my comments are based on the experience that goes from recording vinyl, black vinyl, also called licorice pizza sometimes, to today, digital. I have over 300 registered compositions, and so I think I'm kind of qualified to speak for the music, for composers, and Lorenzo is too, and he's going to talk about this in a minute because we talked about this morning, and he brought up some great points that I hadn't thought of. Trying to abbreviate this and get rid of the whole Spotify thing, which is clogged right now with not great music from humans, but it's getting more and more not great music from artificial intelligence. I said that I can hold two thoughts in my head, and those two thoughts are AI absolutely sucks, and I'm sick of hearing about it. It's worse than blockchain, much worse. And all the billionaires in the world are putting money into it and shoving it into every single thing. I have had two experiences today with David Duffett's, remember David Duffett's demo, if you heard his demo with the AI thing, which was great, and it sounded exactly like my wife's 25-minute phone call with American Express. Exactly the same thing, getting a human after 20 minutes. I myself had the same experience about an hour ago with my phone carrier because I was not roaming. Anyway, this is pretty sickening that they're shoving all this in our face, but on the other hand, it's great. I stood at Kamailio World in 2023 and asked a question I'm going to ask you now. The question I asked then was, how many of you have tried ChatGPT? And I think 5 people answered. Now, how many people have never tried any of those ChatGPT variations? Can you raise your hand if you've never tried one? There's one person back there. 2? Anyway. Anyway, I've been experimenting with all of these things, including music composition software. And I'm really scared because it's getting so good now. The paid version, there's a thing called Suno, the paid version, and this is what we were talking about a few minutes ago. We've both experienced how good that is. When I say good, I mean it's just surprising. It's like a circus. It's like watching somebody, with trapeze or something. So what was one of the problems that we were talking about was the ubiquity of that music, Lorenzo? Oh, okay.
No, I mean, in general, yeah, the question about whether or not AI is great or not, I think probably both answers are equally valid because, I mean, there are many use cases where we are all using AI today for transcriptions is one typical example, but there's so much more where AI can actually provide value. And even going beyond our realm, I do see value in AI for critical stuff. I mean, in the medical world, I'm sure that it can provide a great ton of value. Where I really put my sword in the sand, if it makes any sense, is any kind of generative AI. It really makes my blood boil for multiple reasons. One of them being what you said. So basically, the whole concept of stealing everything and just regurgitating stuff to look like it's creating something is really something that I don't like at all. I don't like its approach to music. I don't like its approach to images. And I don't know about you, I'm tired of seeing all these Studio Ghibli images, clones that everybody is publishing everywhere. So I really see it, in that case, I really see it as a way to basically cheat basically graphic designers out of their job just because you want a logo done quickly or something like this. I really see it as a way to regurgitate copyright content, And I see this as a great problem for the future, because right now all these things, including Suno and others, look great, and even the Studio Ghibli images, as far as I hate them, they look great as well. But that's only true because there was real art in the background that it took from and it stole from. The problem is that once everything is AI-generated content, then the new AIs will start using that as ways to learn what comes next. And that's where I really see the flattening of creativity happening, because basically that's what will be the standard for everything in terms of media, content, whatever, ads, marketing, whatever. And I see this as a big problem. As a tiny creator, I see this as a big problem.
Right. Dan, we're going to get to you in just a second, but I just wanted to say the other side of artistic creations, which was the graphics thing, which I jumped on. I created a bunch of album covers because I don't have $50 to give to an illustrator for a thing that's going to maybe with luck earn $3. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. Now I'm using photos, and I've changed as many as I can because the reaction of people in graphics has been to say it's negative is, they are expressing themselves. And just to finish, they have a solution, and I don't know how they're going to implement it, and that solution is called the 3 C's: consent, credit, and compensation. Now, and you can do this today, by the way, if you're an artist, by joining one of these databases and saying, yeah, use my Lander, for example, a distributor, you can tell them, yes, use my work, and they will pay you for it. However, no credit. But at least there's consent, because one of the main complaints about the artistic thing is consent. Now, if we switch this over to programming, coding, and so on, it's a little bit different because you in the open source world, you're already having your libraries out there that are being used by a lot of people. And I remember one complaint was somebody was saying that the library was used, but they removed the comments and made it look like it was their own. So, Dan, let's hear your take on this stuff.
I mean, very, very quickly, going back to creative stuff as well. There's something happening in the UK around laws around consent and how potentially they're going to make it opt out, so that you have to tell all of these AI companies, I don't want you to use it, rather than the other way around, which I think is shocking, but it is what it is. But yes, going back to code, AI, open source. I mean, I'm very, very lucky in the sense that I don't have any big open source projects that AI is scraping. I have lots of little projects, and I have lots of, I've helped other projects. Whereas, Lorenzo, you were telling me the other day that, an AI bot was scraping the Janus docs and the GitHub code and, creating these professional-looking websites that are meant to help people, but all of it was pretty garbage, because real-time media isn't easy, right? This is why there are only so many people in the world actually doing it. I came from a web background, and it took me a long time to really figure out SIP. David Duffett, 20 years ago, it's a long-running joke between me and David. 20 years ago, David helped me. No, it is scary. But at the same time, we as the people, going off and building things with AI, whatever AI is, whatever your definition is, we're the ones that have to be responsible, right? So we can't just go off and build websites that show off crappy code and tell you, oh, this is the way to do it, and it's completely wrong. There's got to be there's a trust relationship there, right? You can't just, go and, I mean, some of these websites, Cloudflare have added an AI bot detector, and then it will chuck the AI bot down a rabbit hole to protect people's servers, because they're getting completely and utterly attacked by AI bots that are just going over and over and over the same content over and over and over again with no real purpose.
Isn't somebody doing poisoning too?
Poison, yes. Yeah, people. So it's not just rabbit holes. It's here's some crappy content and it thinks it's real, which inherently goes back to what you were saying earlier about the fact that, well, when AI is looking at AI generated content, like where is the world going to be, right? Do you want to add anything, Lorenzo? You've actually had real experience of this.
No, in general, no. What you said was basically a good summary of it, because basically there was this, I don't even remember the name of the project. I got a mail that said, probably a mail generated to a lot of GitHub repos that said, I created this agent that basically answers questions about your project. It will be a great help to people and everything like this. And basically it was just something that had scraped all the content and created an automated agent that answered on it. I created a quick summary out of the docs as an introduction, and then you could interact with it by making questions and stuff like this. So, of course.
There is not just the creativity like artists and the coding. If you look at the social media, there are so many AI bots on the social.
It's on.
Okay. Yeah, there are so many AI bots. AI bots answering each other. You probably have seen those clips like Siri and Alexa are arguing with each other. What? I mean, so I think it's the use of technology is going wrong way. It's a good technology. For example, with AI, I have done a lot of good things. As a programmer, as a coder, it really speed up me writing the code, because there are many parts which are similar or repeated, and I don't have to write them, and it automatically generates. Okay, you probably want to repeat this for next carrier, if we are matching carrier and so on. So it's really good if you use it wisely. But if you just want to earn a quick buck on the expense of other person's hard work, then it's really bad. It's a person that is bad, not the technology.
That's true. It all depends on what you do with it. One other comment I have that I was talking to Lorenzo earlier about is this, and this is why I can see both sides. As I said, I've been in music for almost 60 years, and I'm pretty good at it, actually, but where did that all come from? It came from me listening to music for 60 years, and then there's stuff in there that comes out. Now, I think most of what I've done is pretty original, unless I'm trying to be some kind of particular idiom. And it's true, too, of coding, because I'm a horrible programmer, the worst. I mean, if I used to use PHP, my stuff was totally insecure, but, it didn't matter with what I was doing. But the point is, how did I code if I don't know anything and had no education? I just looked for libraries, and I looked for examples. When I was doing asterisk dial plans, what did you do?
You went to voipinfo.org,
right?
And you copied stuff from there.
You copied stuff from that, yeah. And it's the same with music, and it's the same. Frankly, now most artists won't admit this, but it's true for art too. I mean, graphic art. You study stuff, you look at it, and so coding's similar. But the big difference, and I'm going to land the plane right now, the biggest difference between AI, between so-called artificial intelligence and human intelligence is speed. Because in the case of writing a song based on here's a line of lyrics and here's the genre I want, it took 15 seconds for the website, plus with the latency of the web and everything, it took 15 seconds to generate 2 versions of a song that was totally believable, with lyrics that rhymed and that were coherent and made sense, told a story, idiotic story, because that's what I put in there. And the chord changes were right, and the vibe was right. So it's just mostly a question of speed. It would take me I think I once wrote a song that took an hour, okay, but still, that's how many times more,
But who owns that song, right?
What's that?
Who owns that song that was generated?
Who owns it?
Yeah.
The company owns it because I didn't pay, but if you pay $8 a month,
it becomes yours.
Yeah, you own
even though the AI generated it.
Yeah, and
right.
it is copyrightable, apparently. That's all being discussed now.
So on the whole open source thing and code, I want to encourage everyone, if you've got an open source project or something that involves documentation, there are things that we can do to actually put documentation in the right format for LLMs and AI and scrapers and to make it so that they don't bring down our websites with crappy scraping. So there's that. And then going back to your ChatGPT question earlier, please raise your hand if you have. Who in the room has vibe coded? And vibe coding definition is literally just talking to an AI and having it make you something, and you are not thinking. You are getting the AI to do it. You are thinking enough to be able to prompt the AI, but you're not going in and changing code. AI is doing 99% of it for you. How many people in the room have done it?
I just asked it for a script in Python to automatically post on Twitter, and it generated it in a second, and it worked, except that Twitter no longer accepts it.
Right, exactly. That's an interesting, like, I wonder what that number will be in a year's time. Maybe 3 months ago, I wouldn't have imagined like just talking to an AI and you know, iterating on code just via talking to an AI. But I built a whole project. Pardon?
You don't need to do anything. You keep iterating.
Yes, you keep iterating on it.
You instruct him to iterate
until they get it right, but at the same time, yeah, you got to keep pushing it until you get what you want. But like at the same time, I'm not going in and changing this code. I'm telling it, oh, you got this wrong, and it changes it. I built a whole project the other day just by vibe coding. It's not a project I would put in front of a client of mine. It was a fun project to do, but I did it, and it did 99% of the work for me. Sure, I wrote some prompts and I did some voice prompts, but like the fact that you could be, you know, in a queue in a shopping market and talking to an AI and it writes you a project for you, and then when you get home, it's already deployed. That's pretty cool.
Who else would like to chime in real quick here? I'll bring the microphone over. Anybody? David. While he's going out there, I just wanted to mention that I watched Law and Order, the most recent episode, which was, do you know what I'm talking about? The episode was about a kid who murdered his father after having a discussion with a therapist, licensed therapist on Instagram or something. Go ahead, David.
It's a philosophical question, and that is, we hear a lot in places like this about tools that allow web developers to use telephony without understanding too much about telephony. So what's the difference between that and putting a tool in the average person's hands that allows them to make music?
Does anybody have an answer to that? You probably do.
I mean, I feel this very much targeted at me, David. But I'm not a web developer anymore. No, I don't know. I mean, if you can, yeah, great, good, because I was going to waffle.
Very short answer. Responsibility. Who is actually means if you have some company who is providing you the service, you can always pinpoint. With AI, like go ask Microsoft, go ask OpenAI. Means why the answer was like this. Responsibility.
Somebody's phone. Well, a big thank you to Daniel again, and to the participants, the brave participants. Nobody else? Anybody? Comments? We're kind of short, but hey. Let's get.
Sorry, but I just want to add a question because a couple of weeks before come here, I was also discussing with another musician about this Gilby stuff and so on. He defends that it's the vibe of the music what is copied. Okay, as in the art is the style of what is copied, and also in the code is the previous example what is copied. So when we say that AI schools kill the creativity, I think that not. So I think on the opposite way, I think that they will spread a very massive plane wave of normal stuff that should be relevant. So in that place is creativity, I think that they give a specific insight. So because we have a capacity of as humans that we didn't implement yet on artificial intelligence, that it's to bring creativity to something completely new. And my belief is that they are not really there. So I think that it's a complete paradigm change. What we are focusing here, like the new release of Daniel that that I saw, it's something new. It's something that we need to adapt. I think that it's something that also provides another competitor to our spectrum. But yes, I think that it's needed to bring easier fields for anybody to join. As for example, if you don't know anything about voice over IP and then you join a company that builds half a product as web and other part as voice over IP, I think that it's interesting to bring easy tools to keep going.
So,
but it's something to discuss.
Yeah,
after that.
that's why I was saying we know that the humans are more creative after some wine beer. What if the computer start drinking, and then what will happen with AI there, right? So yeah, maybe the last question or point, not too delayed. We are a little bit delayed, but if not, in like, you want to? We are.
Just as an example, for example, my son.
No, it's not on.
Okay. So just an example, my son is in 7th class. He know no coding at all. You know, he's just a school kid. And my brother, he's a web developer. He's working there for like 10 years and so on, very experienced in this and that. So I told my son that your uncle is web developer and it's very difficult, so you should start learning so that by the time you finish school, you should have some experience. What he did, he go to Manus AI. You have heard the Chinese one, and he asked it to create a website to sell the headphones, and he literally created it within an hour and so. And he said, "What's so difficult about web development? I made it in just 1 hour, and I only need you to pay them so that I can download the code and host it on some server, so it's there." So,
but then it's more than just the kids say, because you have to integrate it with payment API, with stock management, and so on. So yeah, when you look at a web page and see some pictures, some fields there, actually it's a lot of work behind. So probably that AI was generating.
No, it was completely with PayPal and everything. You just need to set up PayPal, and it was linked behind the scenes with Alibaba or some market, and it will order it, kind of drop shipping. And
but you gonna trust it that?
No.
Because it looks like, and you will still have to check this, because if you go into some
exactly, it looks like a complete website, but it should not go on public, because there must be some bugs, or it could be misuse.
Yeah, could be worse. Okay, then Randy, thank you.